3 minutes a day transformed my life. At 74, the morning habit. You need to try. It only takes 3 minutes a day. No medicine, no doctor, but this one habit saved me from a lifeless kind of aging I didn't even know was happening. When I was 74, I wasn't seriously ill. I wasn't in the hospital. But something was quietly draining me day by day. My mind felt foggy every morning. Food tasted bland. I tossed and turned at night. And the next morning felt like a worn-out copy of the day before. No one could see it, but I knew I was slowly withdrawing from my own life. Many people think that to stay healthy after 70, you need a strict diet, intense exercise, or a cabinet full of vitamins. But the thing that truly helped me step out of that gray zone only took 3 minutes a day. 3 minutes not to push harder, but to come back to myself. In this video, I'll tell you why those 3 minutes of silence became the key to waking up clear-headed and sleeping deeply at night. Why it's not about doing more, but about knowing when to pause. And the 5 real changes I've experienced, me, a 74-year-old man who used to feel exhausted, lost, and quietly fading just by keeping one simple habit. Just 3 minutes a day. But they gave me back my mental clarity, peace in my heart, and the right to feel like I'm still fully alive, not just adding more years to the calendar. And if you're in your 60s or 70s, and you're not even sure if there's any spark left in you, follow this channel, because sometimes it's the smallest thing that keeps you here for the most beautiful part of life. Part 1. Your body doesn't need much. It just needs you to listen sooner. Have you ever felt like your body was trying to tell you something, but you weren't sure if you were hearing it right? I used to overlook all kinds of subtle signs. A bit of fatigue in the morning, a passing headache, food not tasting quite right, shallow breathing sleep that felt even shallower than the breath itself. And like many people after 70, I told myself, oh, that's normal, just aging. So I brushed it off, kept repeating the same habits, pushed the fatigue beneath a layer of gentle busyness from errands and small daily tasks. I was still living, but I wasn't truly present in my life. Then one day, I got a little dizzy while pouring water. I didn't fall, I didn't go to the hospital, but it made me stand still for a long while in front of the sink, and for the first time in months, I listened to my body honestly. Not through a doctor's words, not through a step counter, not through anyone's complaints. Just me and the quiet signals happening inside. The next morning, I tried something I'd never done before. I sat down in a chair by the window, no coffee, no TV, no phone. I placed my hand over my chest, closed my eyes, and simply breathed. Not to achieve anything, just to see how my body was doing. It wasn't even 3 minutes. But you know what? I heard something I'd been missing all along: the tightness in my shoulders, the dryness in my mouth, a slightly racing heartbeat, and a vague uneasiness in my chest. Nothing alarming, but enough for me to understand my body didn't need anything grand. It just needed me to return and listen a little sooner. I started keeping that habit every morning, 3 minutes, no more. After a few days, I felt like a radio tuning back into its original signal. I could tell which days my body needed movement and which days it needed more rest. I could feel when my mind was tense, not from tasks, but because I hadn't given it space to clean up. I ate more regularly. I slept more easily. I didn't feel like I was drifting through my mornings anymore. And the most surprising part, I didn't just hear my body again, I started trusting myself again. At 74, the hardest part isn't accepting physical decline. It's rebuilding the belief that you're still actively living, even in the smallest ways. You don't need 30 minutes of meditation. You don't need fancy breathing techniques. Just 3 minutes to pause and ask, how is my body feeling this morning? If you've ever brushed off small moments of fatigue, odd heartbeats, or shallow breaths, try pausing tomorrow morning. Place your hand on your chest, take a gentle breath, and just listen without judging or fixing. Because sometimes the first step to better health is allowing yourself to listen. And if this small act brings you a little peace, don't forget to follow the channel. In the next part, I'll share the habit that helps me stay clear-headed all morning without a single drop of coffee. Part 2, clarity doesn't come from coffee, it comes from presence. There's one thing I realized after turning 70. Fatigue doesn't just come from an aging body, it comes from a mind that's never truly awake. I used to think alertness was simple drink, a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, and that's it. And sure, at first coffee did help me feel more awake, or at least not dozing off. But then I started to notice that alert feeling lasted maybe an hour. Then came the heavy head-dry eyes, scattered thoughts I couldn't quite trace. I'd go for a second cup, sometimes even a third. And then my heart would race, my breath would shorten, and I'd feel anxious, for no clear reason. At 74, I no longer had work or financial pressure, but the early morning fatigue still lingered. I began to dread the mornings, the very time of day that was supposed to feel fresh and energizing. Then one day, an older friend said something that sounded almost too simple. Try standing still for 3 minutes each morning before your coffee. I chuckled. Stand still for what? I wasn't a meditation person. I didn't do yoga. I wasn't into anything spiritual. But the next morning I gave it a try, not because I believed in it, but because, well, what did I have to lose? I stood by the window. No phone, no TV, no newspaper. Just me and a pane of glass facing the sunrise. That day the sky was cloudy, no sun, but I could hear the birds. I felt the coldness of the glass. I noticed my breath, not forcing it to slow down, not trying to change anything. Just stood there for 3 minutes. And you know what? When I sat down at the kitchen table afterward, I didn't need that cup of coffee anymore. My mind felt clear, light, as if someone had gently dusted off my brain after days of mental clutter. It wasn't the buzz that coffee gives, but a calmer, deeper kind of alertness. I started reading more. Turns out there's a whole field in neuroscience that talks about this. They call it mindful activation, awakening the brain, not through stimulation, but through full presence in the moment. When you do something slowly, intentionally, like standing still, breathing, observing your brain shifts from reactive mode to control mode. It stops jumping from one thought to another. It returns to its true role, helping you live, instead of being dragged around by life. After a few weeks, I stopped drinking morning coffee, not because I disliked it, but because I didn't need it to feel awake. I even noticed my memory improving. No more forgetting keys or missing doctor's appointments. I was less irritable too. When I started the day in quiet presence, my whole day followed that rhythm. I wasn't pulled into negative news or that panicked feeling of falling behind before anything even began. I started each day as the driver, not the passenger of my own mind. And the strange thing, it only took 3 minutes. No long meditations, no special training, just standing still and being present, so that you get to show up first, before everything else tries to pull you away. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your coffee, try standing still for just 3 minutes. No goals, no pressure. Just stand as if you are the most important person in that moment. And if your mind softens, clears, and a little peace begins to rise from within, share that feeling in the comments. And don't forget to follow the channel, because in the next part, I'll tell you how this simple 3-minute habit became the very first step in reclaiming the deep, restful sleep I thought I had lost forever. Part 3. Deep sleep begins with 3 minutes in the morning. Have you ever had a night when your body was exhausted, but your mind just wouldn't shut off? I've been there more nights than I care to count. I'd get into bed at 10 p.m., turn off the lights, try to breathe deeply. But my brain kept spinning. Thoughts about old memories upcoming, plans, a vague sense of unease. Nothing concrete, but just enough to keep me tossing and turning. I'd glance at the clock, 11 p.m., 1 a.m., and when I finally dozed off, it was almost morning. I'd wake up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. I used to think that was just part of aging. After all, doesn't everyone lose sleep after 70? Then I started reading more, not to fix it, but to understand it. And one sentence from a Harvard Health article stopped me in my tracks. The quality of your sleep at night actually begins with your morning routine. I didn't believe it at first. I always thought good sleep depended on a light dinner, avoiding caffeine, going to bed on time. What does morning have to do with it? But then I remembered on the nights I tossed and turned the most, they always followed mornings when I had started the day in a rush. Rushed to check my phone, rushed to read the news, rushed to think about what I had to get done that day. I never gave my body a gentle start, like I expected it to turn on instantly and run smoothly all day. But how could it? So I returned to the little habit I'd been trying out, spending the first 3 minutes of the day sitting still, doing nothing, no news, no internet, not even planning meals or errands. I just sat there, sometimes with my eyes closed, sometimes just gazing at a potted plant in front of me, breathing without trying to change a thing. And then I noticed something. I started sleeping better. Not instantly, but steadily. I stopped waking up in the middle of the night. I stopped tossing and turning for hours. I slept through the night. And even when I woke up early, I felt rested. Not groggy. Not like I'd been battling my pillow all night. That's when it clicked for me. Your morning sets the neurological rhythm for your entire day. And that includes how you'll sleep that night. If you begin your day stressed with a racing heart and scattered thoughts, your nervous system remembers that state. And by nightfall, it doesn't know how to power down. It stays alert, restless, guarded. But if you start your day slowly with steady breathing, a few minutes of stillness, no stimulation, no pressure, you send a message to your system. This is a safe day, and by bedtime, it no longer needs to stand watch. It allows you to rest. This doesn't replace your doctor. It doesn't replace medication if you need it. But it's something I wish I had known much earlier. 3 quiet minutes in the morning, in exchange for 7 peaceful hours at night. No one puts that on a commercial, but my body confirms it every night. If you're struggling with sleep, don't start with the night. Start tomorrow morning. Turn off your alarm. Sit up. Sit still for just 3 minutes. No goal, no expectation. And if, after a few days, You find yourself sleeping more deeply? Let me know in the comments, because good sleep after 70 doesn't have to be a luxury if you know how to begin your day the right way. And don't forget to follow the channel, because in the next part, I'll share how I overcame loneliness each day without needing anyone else by my side. Part 4, Easing Loneliness by Making the Smallest Connection with Yourself. I used to think loneliness meant no one calling, no one checking in, no one sitting beside you. But over time I realized the loneliest moments weren't when others were absent. They were when I stopped having a conversation with myself. My kids still called regularly. My neighbors were kind. But there were mornings, even as I sat in a house full of light, when I felt like I was slowly fading out of my own life. One morning I opened the fridge and stared at leftovers, and I asked myself, what did I eat yesterday I couldn't remember? Not because of memory loss, but because I wasn't really there for any of it. Eating, reading, tidying up. It all felt like someone else was doing it. Like I was living as a shadow present in body, absent in soul. And that kind of emptiness cuts deeper than simply being alone. That's when I began to ask, is there a way to meet myself again each day? So I went back to my little morning habit, the 3-minute stillness. But this time, I added something small. I whispered to myself, not to hype myself up, not to be positive. Just a few gentle words like, good morning, how are we doing today? If anything feels off, we'll notice it and go gently, okay. At first it felt silly. Talking to myself like that seemed strange. But then something unexpected happened. I became kinder to myself. I stopped scolding myself for dropping a cup. I didn't grumble when I forgot to turn off a light. When I felt low for no clear reason, I didn't brush it off. Instead, I noticed it. I gave it space. I held it like an old friend. And the most precious part, I stopped feeling so alone. Not because more people were around, but because I was back. The most loyal companion I could ever have. I learned to ask what small thing would make today feel a bit more comforting. Some days it was a walk to the park, other days just tea and warm cookies. Sometimes I'd reread an old letter from my late wife. 3 minutes each morning, not to accomplish anything, just to be present, and to talk to myself honestly. That's what helped me hold on to something. Aging often steals a deep, grounded connection to myself. If you've ever felt lonely, even when surrounded by people, try giving yourself 3 quiet minutes tomorrow morning, just to listen. No judgment, no fixing. Just ask, what would help me feel a little more at ease today? And if that small moment speaks to you, I'd love to hear your answer in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because in the next part, I'll share the one thing that made me feel more in control after 70, even though I'm no longer as strong as I once was. Part 5, just 3 minutes a day, the beginning of a more independent life. At 74, I started fearing something no doctor ever mentioned in my checkups. The feeling that I was no longer the one steering my own life. I still cooked my own meals, did my own laundry, drove myself to the grocery store every week. But some mornings I'd wake up and not know what to do next. Not because there was nothing to do, but because I felt like I was living on autopilot. I'd sit down at the kitchen table, turn on the TV, eat, without really tasting. Then scroll through the headlines, then stare at the clock. Time passed, but it left nothing behind. It felt like someone had quietly taken the steering wheel from me, not through force, but through the dull repetition of days that all looked the same. I began asking myself, is this the kind of aging I once hoped for? Because I'm not afraid of dying. What I fear is continuing to live without choices, without choosing what I want, without feeling like my voice still matters. That feeling wasn't loud, but it wore me down day after day. And then one morning, just as I was about to make my coffee like always, I remembered my 3-minute habit, standing still, doing nothing. But that day, I didn't just stand still. I asked myself a simple question. What's one small thing I can choose today just to feel alive, not to impress anyone, not to earn points with my doctor, not to be productive, just one choice so I could feel like I was living by intention. That day my answer was, I choose not to turn on the TV this morning. That's it. Instead, I put on some soft jazz, made a cup of tea, and sat by the window. The sun came out that day, but more than that, I saw something even brighter. A part of myself I thought I'd lost, a man who knew what he was doing and why. From then on, I added a new piece to my 3-minute morning routine. I chose something meaningful to do each day. Some days it was changing my breakfast. Other days, going to the park instead of the store. Some days, calling an old friend instead of watching TV. No one told me to. No one tracked me. I did it because I chose to. And I realized living independently doesn't begin with what big things you can do. It begins with whether you still dare to choose something for yourself every day. It doesn't have to be big. Just choosing breakfast because you like it, not because it's routine. Choosing to walk when you feel like it, not because the clock says so. Choosing to live a day different from yesterday, even if it's just the way you pour a glass of water. Because as long as you can still choose, you're still living. So tomorrow morning, before you go through your usual motions, give yourself 3 minutes. Just to ask, what will I choose today to feel in control again? You might be surprised. One small decision could put you right back in the driver's seat. And if you've ever lost that sense of autonomy, but are slowly reclaiming it, I hope you'll share your story in the comments. Don't forget to follow the channel, because in the final part, I'll bring it all together. How these 3 tiny minutes might just open up a whole new chapter after 70. Conclusion: you don't need to change your whole life. Just start again. With 3 minutes a day, if you've stayed with me until now, chances are you're like me. You've had moments where life felt like it was slowing down. Not in a peaceful way, but in a way that felt like it was wearing you down. Maybe you've thought, at this age, what can I really change? Maybe you've believed that in order to stay healthy, you had to do something big, like running every morning, hitting the gym, or overhauling your entire diet. But what truly changed me started with just 3 minutes every morning. 3 minutes to listen to my body. 3 minutes to be present, no coffee, no news. 3 minutes to reset my rhythm so I could sleep better that night. 3 minutes to reconnect with myself instead of drifting through another long day. And 3 minutes to remind myself I still have the right to choose and to live on my own terms. I'm not saying this habit will fix everything. It won't replace doctors. It won't replace a healthy lifestyle. But if you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, and you've ever felt lost, worn out, or like you've just disappeared into the background of your own life, then I truly believe those 3 minutes might be the very first step to finding your way back. So tomorrow morning, before you do anything else, try giving yourself just 3 minutes. Sit still, breathe gently, and ask yourself, What do I need today to live better? Maybe you won't hear an answer right away, but that's okay. Just keep showing up, because life is like a stream. It takes time to become clear. And if any of this has touched you, just leave me one comment. Let me know where you're starting from. Or simply hit like, subscribe to the channel, so that each day we can keep holding on to these small things that make the rest of life truly worth living.